Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. You are in the right place at the right time. Such is the nature of life that all at once and asks us to appear, and you and I are that opportunity to appear. What a beautiful day it is. It's been a beautiful weekend, actually. It's just absolutely fabulous, and I'm glad you're here and not chilling out outside somewhere. We'll give you enough time to get out there and enjoy nature. Spring is here, and you can feel it. I know that I love this one mind, one power. I love this song that we get to hear it when we do get to hear it, when Peter's here and when Tom is here, because that's what brought me here. One power. I don't care what you call it, whatever name, every walk of faith leads us to this one power. We are all spiritually and divine. We may have had some lessons along the way that brought us right here at this moment. So don't leave a stranger. I see we're a little light today, but not everybody may know everyone, so make sure you do know someone new before you leave and greet them. And whatever it is that's in your heart, here is where it can be filled. And I want to introduce who's standing by me. She's a sister, she's a friend, she's a minister of this teaching, and more. We don't have time for all of that, but Ursula Lentine is here to present to us this morning.
Good morning, everybody. I've recently been invited to do the book study from 10 to 11 every Sunday. They do that here. And I usually do some prayers and meditation at home, but they were asking, hey, can you fill in? And I'm like, yeah. I came last week, and I'm like, oh, this is good. And then I came this week, and I facilitated, and I'm like, this is really good. Because when we study this by ourselves, it's awesome. But when we study it in a group, things got dropped in from everybody, from the newest person to me who's been studying it for years. But I haven't cracked the book open because I live it. But when I re-crack the book open, oh my God, it's all in there. So it's like a balloon filling with helium. It's just so easy, in community. Churches have gone by the wayside in mass, right? Pun intended. So we still have a human need for community. We as a mammal, we're herd, so we're not cows in this teaching. We're really the black sheep who leaves the herd. But when we can collect and commune and share, wow, is it powerful. So I encourage everybody, check it out. There's a paper on the table there that says which chapters they're reading every day to get to the week. Just check it out. If you own the book, it's, when it sits on the shelf, it kind of doesn't do anything. So I encourage you to do that because I just had a great experience. So this is a reading here from page 429, Science of Mind. And this is very directly related to what Reverend Angela is going to be speaking about today. The perspective of reality is lost when we view life from the range of short experiences. Now, in our current ADD point of life, where there's so much stimulation and distraction coming to us, miles per hour, we think, oh, this is the reality, this is the reality, this is the reality, okay. And Ernest Holmes is saying, well, take a little longer look. Jesus saw beyond the veil and estimated life from the great perspective, the long run of the adventure of the soul. Sometimes we relate life to work. Oh, so much work. I got to work and work and work and work. And Jesus is saying, it's an adventure of the soul. And when we get to a certain level, one of the members of today's work was saying, he said, I'm understanding that the good is the carryover from the past to the present to the future. Like it's all one good thing now instead of all one bad thing. So when we make that shift and we keep shifting up and up and up and raising our vibration, now we can think of it as an adventure of the soul. We are building on an eternal foundation. One time cannot after nor experience destroy. Time cannot alter, or experience can't destroy. So when we're investing good, the market can go up and down and up and down. Life can go changing. People can come and go. Devastation can happen, and so on and so forth. But the good that we're investing is always accumulating interest. It's a long-term investment. Be good even when no one's looking kind of thing. A true estimate of real value cannot be built on shifting sands of time alone. So this is an investment towards ourselves, towards our eternal soul, towards many lifetimes. So each time we come in, we get another chance. Each day we wake up, we get another chance at relationships, at self-esteem, self-love, our prosperity consciousness, how we interact with others, how we love, how we receive love. So let's unfold our bodies and we'll move into spiritual treatment. I'll be speaking in first person. Take it for yourself because we all are one. This is what I know. There is a vibration that is breathing my lungs, beating my heart. This is the same vibration that's causing oxygen molecules to float through the air, given to me by the trees, given to them by the sun. It's all connected. We have to be all connected. I am not alone. That idea is an illusion. It's me putting blindfolders on. I am so connected to everything and everybody. And I take that awareness and I bring in the consciousness that I am also connected to love. Anything that is not love is just an obstacle, a distraction, a wrong idea that I don't want to entertain anymore. There's so much love. That feeling of being in love with somebody. Why can't I have that now? With my own self? How dare I? How dare I fall in love with myself? Because when I love myself, I can love everybody else all that more. And I just want to hug and kiss everybody, every child, every elder, every brother, every sister. We all want love because we all are love. I want everything in the way to just blast off and get out of my way. I want to run into the arms of my beloved. The trees, the sunshine, opportunities, experiences that I want to create for myself and those around me. Love is always the answer. Connection to that love gives me the freedom to create anything I want. When I know this in the deepest part of my body, my heart, my soul, I feel so grateful, so humbled, so appreciative, so beautiful, so excited. I release this treatment into the universe, knowing that we have planted some beautiful seeds here today, and we continue to do so. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. Well, good morning, everyone. It's just gorgeous outside. I just can't get over how beautiful it is. I actually was supposed to meet a friend yesterday, and you know how you promise to do something and you don't want to be the one that backs out of it. So I said, okay, if he calls and we're going to still get together, we'll still get together. Well, he texted and said he was kind of under the weather all week, and I'm like, did I create that? What? So I really wanted to kind of get with Lyric, and she's here. So Lyric always brings me back up. I think some of you know some about my identity. I learned just a year ago I don't know who my biological father is. So I'm on this whole new journey, as Ursula talked about. When I first heard it, didn't feel like a journey, felt like a nightmare. Really, identity crisis set in, anger, just all kinds of emotions set in. And then over that year's journey, because of this right here where we are, this teaching, something before got me ready for this. So the investment is there. The book that she's talking about, here's my copy. I had a copy that looked just like hers, but it split in two. I used to call it the Old and the New Testament. Paul and David didn't like that too much, so they bought me a new one, and this is mine. So I have been cracking it open too, because this is what matters to me. We have to figure out what matters most to us. That's our topic for this morning. So what mattered most yesterday was I had gotten this in the mail, it had Angela Harmon or current resident on it. So even if I wasn't there, whoever was could get this. So I wasn't important. Don't get your head twisted, it's like. But anyway, it was about lakefront property, and I know that I'm always wanting to be on a journey. I love water. I didn't know whether I want to buy property or not, but I knew it was going to be a gorgeous day and I wanted to be out in it. My plans with my friend was supposed to be out in it. We were supposed to get a bottle of wine and picnic somewhere, but he wasn't feeling up to that. Guess what? I'm going to do it with my granddaughter. So it was great. So I went and picked her up. And we drove past Covington, Georgia, to Lake Jackson. I had never heard of it. Anybody ever heard of Lake Jackson? Never heard of it. So went to Lake Jackson. It's all premier, new land and property. And so I didn't buy anything, long story short. If I'm going to get something, I'm going to get a condo in Chicago for the summer. That's where my mind went. I'm like, forget this. I'll just rent a property at the lake. So what happened was the person that was showing us the property said, there's a place called Mystic Grill. Have lunch there. I don't know if anybody's had lunch there. So I go into Covington to do this Mystic Grill and have ice cream at Scoops. And what I learned is something that I had never learned before, because what matters again is learning something new every day. I turned 50 and said, I want to learn something new every day. And I think I literally do. I can't even keep up with it. I have a journal that I try to keep with me all times, but I can't write in it every time. My daughter said, you got a recording? You can't put your phone in your hand or you get a ticket now. So it's really to keep our thoughts. What matters, if it's really it matters to us, it'll resonate and we'll do it in alignment and we'll remember. So I get to Covington, and did you know how many films were filmed in Covington, Georgia? The Vampire Diaries, Dukes of Hazzard. There were scenes from Back to the Future. That clock tower is from Back to the Future. If anybody's seen that movie, I'm like, what? All this stuff is happening in Covington. What else was there? The Heat of the Night, very old. If I'm really dating myself if you don't know what that is. Sidney Poitier, he is still alive. You can Google him. He is from that movie. And then they did a hit show around that. So we walked around and we took in the sun and we took in the history, and Lyric was doing her thing. And that is what mattered most in that day. The subject came up years ago, 20 years ago this year. I found this teaching simultaneously because what mattered to me was finding a way to have peace in my life. Love is great. I think we can automatically love. I'm a Libra, so it's love, peace, and harmony anyway. But I needed something more than the love, because the people that I was loving didn't feel like they were loving me back. That's what it felt like. Could be off, but it didn't feel like it. So what I wanted was peace. And in that same year, I found that the season of nonviolence, which just ended this month, was from the end of January, the 30th, the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, to the assassination of Martin Luther King. And in that window, we were supposed to even focus more on peace, nonviolence. So that mattered. These men died in violent ways. So how do we create an energy first in ourselves and then start to create that in the world, because it starts with us. We have to know what matters to us. Everybody doesn't always know what matters to them. So as I look at this work, it comes from one of the habits, the time management habit, put first things first. A lot of you know that I'm a part of that genre. Found that year as a facilitator, even though I knew it. So we actually have clocks and phones that we use to tell time, right? So if I asked you to look at your clock and you tell me what time it was, everybody probably would say the same thing, especially if you're using your cell phone. The time is going to be in sequence. But if I asked you time, what is it? I could get a very different answer from every single person in here. And that's what we decide to do with our time. We're here this morning, we decide to do that with our time. This is a time specific. If you came at noon, we'd be gone. But we start at 11. Getting gas in your car might be a little bit time flexible. You can get that kind of, but if the car gauge is on E, you probably want to go ahead and go get it. But if it's on full, it's a little flexible. So there are things that are time specific, and then there are things that are time kind of flexible. But everything is time. What time we got up this morning, whether we fed the dog or not, or cat, whether you went and got coffee or made it yourself, got dressed, took a shower last night, shower this morning. Every single sequence of events that we're doing is our time. Now, go further. Are we angry when we wake up? Are we angry when we go to bed? Are we mad at our sister, our husband, our brother, the boss? Do we feel like there's never enough? How are we spending our time that way? Because what we're doing is aligning for more of that. Whatever we put in our mind, in our time, because that's all we really have. You can have people that have a ton of money. I used to think that, they had to have the perfect life. We can see through life's events that money does not do that for us. It's great to have it, but if you're not spending your time wisely, you get those results. I brought the book that stemmed on this because at first there was Covey Leadership, which was just the 7 Habits, and there was a Time Quest book, and then What Matters Most came from Hiram Smith, and then they kind of blended together and it became Franklin Covey. And so during these years of getting facilitating skills and license, that training was important to me. Training is a cost factor. So training is one of the first things that can go away. So my job went away. And the first time I made a vision board is this one. And what I decided to do is figure out what mattered, because I got a little scared in that. So person that takes care of me had bought the car that I'm driving now. She's lasted a long time, so it's been 11 years that this has happened. And I'm still with the company. I did not get laid off. What I did was sit in the middle of the floor one Sunday after coming here and hearing all this good stuff and put it on paper. And one of the pictures I have, which is really at the top of it, is Hiram Smith. So it's funny how you put out thoughts and you can be in the presence of someone. 6 degrees of separation, you ever heard of that? That if there's any one person you want to meet or get to know, you're only 6 people away from them. I think now we're 2, maybe 3 people with the internet, and this person knows this person and those person. You can meet anybody you want. So I wanted to meet him. I wanted to meet Stephen Covey. Stephen's on there too. I had met all these people. So these are the things that I had done. These are the things that I have proven myself with. Because I almost forgot who I was in that news of not having a job. And sometimes it's in the news of a crisis of health. Sometimes it's in the news of breaking up in a relationship. Sometimes it's in the news of you've got to move and you're not ready to move. You never know whatever that thing that fills in the blank. And this mattered. My job mattered a lot to me. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I eat. This is roof over my head. What am I going to do? You're going to focus on what matters. And what matters is how I got here. All these pictures reminded me of where I got to. If I could do it one time, I can do it again. Give a man a fish, they eat for a day. Teach them how to fish, we eat for a lifetime. I was taught how to fish in this teaching. Well, that put it to good use. Really? Because, I say I believe this, but let's see if you can create another job. You that good? Let's do this. And it did. I focused on what mattered in the job. At first, I was all over the place looking, and then that got too overwhelming. So I stuck with IBM. I'm like, if they kick me out, then I'll deal with all the people I know out in the world that have possibilities. Once I focused on what mattered there, ended up staying there, long story short. So we figure out what we're doing with our time, and my time was not to be wasted on, oh, woe is me, I don't have a job, because it would probably still be, oh, woe is me, I don't have a job. And the job is not through, my company is IBM, and I'm honored to be there, but it's actually through source, it's through what you manifest out there, it's through what you decide matters to you. So do you write it down somewhere? I think that's why I bring up time and time specific. If you write things down, they start to happen. If you put the 10 o'clock class on your phone as an alarm, you might get there. Instead of me saying, well, I'm going to go, I'm going to go, I'm going to go, I'm going to go, and I never go because I didn't make it something that mattered. I said in my head it mattered, but did my actions take precedence over that? So when I told you truth, peace truly matters, when you are in the midst of doing what matters in your time, you start to generate inner peace. You figure out what is productive for you, and you do that. You have integrity behind it. So if you decide that you want inner peace and more productivity in your day, even if you're retired, I think we work ourselves just as much in retirement as we did before we had a job. I know when I'm on vacation, I'm still working, but when I'm on vacation, I use a lot of time when I am not on vacation. So sometimes we have this poem. I'm going to read this to you. Sometimes it's like this. Because we don't know what's really important to us, everything seems important. We have to do everything. Other people, unfortunately, see us doing everything, so we expect to do everything. Doing everything keeps us so busy that we don't have time to think about what's really important to us. So we can get in this rat race of life of doing what's important to the spouse, with the kids, the job. And if you don't have self-care, which is habit 7, take care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, social, emotionally, you're multitasking here. You're taking care of all of it, right here, right now. Mentally, physically, spiritually, social, emotionally, all of it. It is important to have that chair working. If one of those prongs on this chair was not working, we'd lean and fall. We need them all working. So it's back to us to know what matters most to us. So with our time, are we aligning ourselves with our choices, our values? Do we know what our values are? Has anyone ever done a values assessment? And the habit 2 is begin with the end in mind. And to me, that's my equivalent of a quote that you see on a tagline, anybody who's ever got an email from me. When the end is held firmly enough in consciousness, the means to bring it about has already been set in motion. So we're aligning ourselves. If we wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to have a lovely day, and I play Bill Withers quite a bit for Lovely Day. But I heard this morning while I was getting dressed kind of randomly, and it really fits the song that we sing, but with a little funkier beat. So let's see if it'll let me play. I had Wi-Fi. Okay, you know technology is... Oh, it's gone. So I'm going to have to tell you. Anybody know the song by Parliament Funkadelics, One Nation Under a Groove? I wanted y'all to hear that this morning. But if you go listen to the lyrics of that song, it tells you even then. I actually had a priority of what mattered most to me when I was in college was dancing. And that says, dance your way out of your constrictions. I was hearing metaphysical messages as soon as I left the house. This is at college when I'm hearing all of these songs that just zoom by Commodores. When they said, all you want is to be free, and everybody has the possibility of having freedom and being who they want to be. The songs tell you. It's up to us to guide ourselves to a way of living the song, not just on Sunday morning or Wednesday night or whenever we study. It's our practice in life. It's just like what the ball players do. They practice every day for us to see them go out and play ball. But it's every single day. An artist is probably always working. But it looks to us like easy breezy, nice and easy. It can look like that. Life will look easy breezy to everyone else. But we're praying up in our private domain, sitting in that corner with that book to remind us we have the strength to do this because it matters to us. So after we figure out what matters to us and we start to live accordingly, there is these natural laws that we live by. They just automatically work. A natural law is when we shape our habits, then our habits shape us. You agree with that? So if we have a habit of practicing what matters most, guess what? That's what's going to happen. Yesterday happened the way it did. Everybody who's heard any of my talks lately, lyrics all up in it. So evidently it was time with lyric rather than time with my other friend. Right? She's like good medicine to me. We have this energy about us. So know what your good medicine is. You can tell good medicine versus bad medicine. I remember the first time I had some surgery on my gums, my daughter, who's sitting in the audience, was about Lyric's age. And I was knocked out on the couch based on what they had given me. And it's probably that stuff we're hearing about on TV now, and this was 30 plus years ago. But I was laying on my couch, and they could have burnt the house down for all I care, because I felt relaxed and eased and just out of it. I'm like, wait a minute, don't like the way that feel. Want my house. So it's like I never touched that again. Not good medicine. It was supposed to keep the pain away. But imagine, they say today in these truth commercials, in 5 days you're hooked on some of those meds that you get from the doctor for pain. So not always good medicine. Might have to go through the pain a little, right? We try to avoid pain. The pain gets us to the other side. What matters is, how do I get to the other side with all of me intact? This is what this teaching does, treatment does. Our treatment given by Reverend Ursula reminded me to include the steps, because that's what matters. This is what got me through. I say the vision board, it was treatment, affirmative, but these are my affirmations visually placed here so I can see them, so I don't forget. So when tears wanted to come, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's almost, look at the board. You did this before. You can do this again. What matters now? Treatment matters. Know there's one power. One. Don't care what they call it. You'll hear all kinds of names. Agree with it. That's true. But you know it for yourself. So you translate it to what you know. And we're one with it. Each and every one of us here, who we see on the street, when we're getting gas, when we're going to the lake, when we're at work, when we're at home, everybody is one with that power that we talked about, whatever you call it. Then we say, when the end is held firmly enough in consciousness, the means to bring it about. And you put in there, sometimes we don't even know what it is, right? With lakefront property, no, I'm good. Chicago, that sounds pretty good. In the summertime, shifted that whole idea, have a place in the South, have a place in the North. Where did that idea come from? I fell in love with Chicago 5 years ago, and this is manifesting new ideas. You can have a bucket list, use it up, start all over again. When you're doing what matters most, the universe is going to align with that for you. I was telling someone in the audience, I watched the movie Crazy Rich Asians. Love that movie. I'm a movie buff. I love movies. Have not seen the new Captain Marvel yet because it's all sold out. I will get to that. But this Asian movie is about a very wealthy family from Singapore. And I saw the movie last year, and this year I went to Singapore. Now, how funny is that, to get something in your head and get aligned with it so well that I go work in Manila, and then I said, you know what, I'm that close, let me go check it out. Well, it wasn't as close as I thought it was. I had to go through Shanghai to go to Singapore and then come back through Taiwan. So since I was going through another country, I said, let me check out Taiwan. What values and bring me peace is travel. It's something about seeing other people in the world wanting love just like we do, wanting peace and joy just like we do. It makes the world such a small place because it is that, because we're all connected. We're all one. It's up to us to align with what matters. It's different for each and every one of us. Sit and assess what's important. When my daughter was growing up, family was probably number one, I'm sure. But what became number one as she's grown up and she's got her family, I like travel. And I get to bring them along. Even yesterday was a little travel trip. We got in the car, we had the top down, and then she told me to put the top up. She was hot, so I had to be grandmommy and listen. So I had an experience with her that was new for me and new for her. And it will plant seeds in her head about what matters to her and how she's going to do life. And whoever we hang with, it's all up to us to decide how to live life in that way. We have the freedom to choose. When we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. It's not really out there that we go looking. We know in this teaching what Dr. Kennedy taught us is that we take personal responsibility for our life. That's habit one. Be proactive. So these two subjects I found in the same year. I've been in this teaching 20 years. I've been facilitating the habits 20 years. What a match. A Delta 40 years. I have a lot of anniversaries this year. 60 this year. I'm saying that so long. $25 years with IBM in September. Company that this vision board kept another 10 years in. Right? If something moves on now, I'm more ready. I'm ready. I have a greater idea. Kennedy said, if you have a greater idea about God. I needed to hear the word God. You might need to hear a different word. If you have a greater idea about your relationship, if you have a greater idea about your health, if you have a greater idea about where you want to live, if you have a greater idea, if there's so many greater ideas, you never run out. Bucket list, new bucket list. Been everywhere on my bucket list, got new list. New list. Australia's on there, Paris is on there. They were a thought then, been there, done that now. Where do I want to go next? What do I want to do next? One is this teaching. Can't get enough of it. You show up, we get to show up. We get to remind you what people are not telling you every week about who you are. Because they'll tell you who you're not. Don't believe them. Bruce Hornsby said it. Don't you believe them? Right? You know, they'll tell you all kinds of stuff. He talked about racism in his song. Go back. Those songs were ready. And then I'll fast forward to kind of the present. Happy is my other song that I play quite a bit. You know what? It dials me up. So I know that my happiness is not external. Doesn't come from Lyric. We have fun together, but it doesn't come from her. It comes from what matters inside of me. And something matters inside of her, and then we click. You can have that kind of relationship with everyone. Self-awareness, imagination, consciousness, and independent will all does that for us. Self-awareness is the ability to examine your own thoughts and move and behavior. Can't blame anybody else how you feel, right? Although we want to, my heart is broken because I thought I was going to die. I remember thinking I was going to die the first time I had a broken heart. I'm still here. She's 38. My daughter was born from that. And it's like, we're still here. Imagination, our ability to visualize beyond our current experiences and circumstances, may not be cool right now. That's just right now. Because it'll be cool again, and that's just right now. It all moves. It's all this cycle. Conscious, our understanding of right and wrong. You can feel it inside you, right? Don't mess your gut up. It works for you. It's in tune to who you are. And we keep lying to it, it's not going to work so well. Independent will is our ability to act independent of external influences. Something can happen, boy, it will send you, and you want to go, but I'm not going. I'll stop. I become proactive again. Remember what my values are, what my mission is, not what I've been triggered by someone else's ambition, and then I get back to my peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding, because that's important to me. When we are praying, knowing that there is one power, we are one with the power, we tell the power what we want, we give thanks for it, and then we release it. That's how this works. That's how you get what matters more in your life in alignment. I will close with this. Oh, have to add these other two stages of treatment, though. Sometimes it is a little tougher. And I like these two, because when I found this teaching, I was actually going through something pretty tough. And you don't ignore or bypass that there might be some doubt or some pain in a situation. There might be hurt. You might not even know what to do. Just say, I recognize that I have some fear, but there is a greater idea, is your next affirmation. Reaffirm that there is a greater idea about this. I might not know what it is right now, but because I'm aligning with what matters to me, is coming. I know it. It's done it time and time again, and I believe. And once you have faith enough to believe, then it becomes a knowing. You're beyond that. So I close with this. When I was young and free, and my imagination had no limits, I dreamed of changing the world. As I grew older and wiser, I discovered the world would not change. So I shortened my sights somewhat and decided to change only my country. But it too seemed immovable. As I grew into my twilight years and in the last desperate attempt, I settled to only changing my family, those closest to me. But alas, they would have none of it. And now as I lie in my deathbed, I suddenly realize if I had only changed myself first, and then by example, I would have changed my family, and from their inspiration and encouragement, I would have then maybe have been able to change my country, and who knows, change the world. So we become a living example of what we want to be. We are the change we wish to see. We are the captain of our ships, and we are the masters of our fate. So we decide what matters most, and so it is. Thank you, thank you. As Peter comes up, we're going to go into that treatment that brings all about that we want to be about. As we breathe in and out that substance that's readily available for us, remember to always breathe in and out. When there are no words, just breathe. And I too will speak in first person. And you can take this for yourself. There is one power. It is absolute, and it is present everywhere on planet Earth and beyond. Anywhere I am, God is. And I see it. I see it in what matters to others. I see it in what matters to me. I see the matters of the heart and the world is love, joy, peace, kindness, and courtesy. And we take the time to know who we are and get in alignment with that and live our best selves. I live my truth. And any I am statement that I have is for the world too. So I know I'm worthy. I know I'm ready, and I know I'm in alignment. And I'm ready to discover more about the world. I'm on this beautiful, happy journey. The world opens up to my thoughts. And as I do life greatly, I share the greatness. So everyone can know this too is possible for you. The kindness, the courtesies, the love, the joy, the omnipotence, the plethora of manifestations that I'm about to make demonstrates this power is available not just to all the others I've seen do it, but those that are about to. We are here in this center to create more of that in the world because we are the light to light the way. I'm ready for the task. that makes a difference in living and doing the what matters and aligning more and more with what matters. I give thanks for this knowing and this awareness, and I release this to the universe, not just for myself, but for the world, to embrace their I ams and to be all they can be, and what matters align. And so it is. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Peter. Now, as we bring ourselves present again, seemed like we went off into some vacation somewhere. I think I landed in Singapore again in my head. It's beautiful. It was hot there, though. So as we come together here, this is our opportunity to share our goodness and our ability to keep the doors open and a place for us to come and have this opportunity to be in community and talk about what matters to us, because as Reverend Ursula said, we are awesomely powerful on our own. But when we come together, it's even more powerful.